Hello everybody, I'm moving on with the next stage of the polytunnel build. The last you saw it, all the metal frame was up and done, and since then, as I've been adding bits of timber to the metal frame, I've been recording little clips, and I've realised that it's going to be too long to put into one last video. So putting all the timber frame together, then putting the cover on, it was just going to make it massive. So I'm going to do another video today, which is all the timber frame bit, which I'll roll in a minute, and then there'll be one final video of me putting the cover on, putting the doors on, finishing it off basically. So I'll roll the footage I've already got, and then I'll come back to you and we'll finish the last couple of bits on this timber frame. Doors and door frames. This first tunnel's polytunnel comes as a kit form, and these long pieces down the edge came cut to size, ready to make the door, as did these pieces in the middle. They're just secured together with one screw in at each end. Later on you put nail plates over, which are long rectangular metal plates that you nail in, obviously, which strengthens the whole joints. But for now, that's enough, that's all you need, because you may find later that you've got to take all the nail plates out to adjust the door size, height or whatever. So you just loosely to put it together to make your door. Now, making your door frames, you make it to match your door. So you've made your door, as you're seeing over there, and depending on the type of door you've gone for, I'm using a sliding door here, so it's going to slide over the top of the door frame. If you're using a hinge door, you'll need to set your door between these door frames posts, and you can see there I've just laid them down. They're not fixed to anything, and then the instructions call for a 24 centimetre down is where you want that top bar. That will be right at the very top of the polytunnel. Drill a hole and then knock some 6-inch nails, so that piece is then fixed. And of course that's all set, and you've cut that piece to fit in there, to fit with your door. At the other end, 3 inches from the end, you nail a batten across, which eventually will be buried in the ground because you make a little trench to fit the door frame. Then you're all ready to go and set up your door frames on your tunnel. So what I've done here is I've dug a shallow trench about 10 inches deep and the width of the door frame, so that the batten can get down. And up the top, up here on the lintel of the door frame, I marked a little centre mark. I hope you can see that, so I can line it up roughly with the ridge bar that's up here, just to get it centred right. Then push the frame against it, and from the back side I measured, and I've cut this piece to fit under here. And you can see here I've just started cutting that one. I'll take it out, cut that, and then we can fit these P-clips to it. These P-clips are here. These come round and fit over the top like that and bolt through, and that holds your frame in place. So with the door frame centralised, it's fixed on via the P-clips now, nice and tight. What I need to do is come round the back, and the back of the P-clips up there, put a self-tapping bolt in to stop that moving on the frame, and that will keep that secure. At the front, because this timber sort of comes to the front of the polytunnel there, I've put a string line around, fixed on some supports. You could tie it to this, but the chances are that this would happen. It would if it was tied to the frame. So go past it and put a stake in, tie to it. Now you can bring the frame forward to meet this string line, so everything is then in line with each other. You've gone all these extra steps to get this tunnel right, so just do that final step, match it up, and then backfill your trench, and that's your door frame done. So I'm now fitting the hardware for the base or side rails. It consists of a U-bolt like this, and then a clamp that goes around so it's secure on the frame. And this is the corner contraption, a little bit fiddly, but you just tighten these bolts up. Finger tight, you don't need to tighten anything up with a socket yet or a spanner yet. Now we've got this arrangement, and the outside rail timber, whether it's the side rail or the base rail, fits around here and then around here. On the inside there. Now these rails obviously run the full length of the polytunnel, and you can mess around with these. You will need two pieces to put together, and you're supplied with nailing plates to nail them together, and that can be a bit of a fuss and a faff. So one little trick I've learned is to put one piece on there, and I've got that ready to go, and I've got this little sacrificial strip here with a couple of screws in it, and I'm just going to put this underneath and screw this up. This will just help to hold the next piece in place whilst I measure and cut it and then fit it. So what we're left with then is the next piece can then mount straight onto there, and I can sit there, and it means I can work one-handed, if you like. I can work on my own. That's now going to sit on there, and I'll show you now what I do at the other end to fit the corner brackets and how this piece was then fitted. So at the other end, I was lucky in that I could start this piece right where I wanted to and start fitting it along the polytunnel. Then we got to the middle part, and I put that little strip underneath so that I could sit this here. This is actually sat on a garden fork at this end, and what I need to do now is just push that up, and I can use my square to measure where I need to cut this piece so that we're at the right fitting for there. Now I can go away, cut this piece, just lift this off, go away and cut this piece and come back and fit it. So with this length of timber now cut to length, I can offer it up to the bracket and drill a hole through. Feed a bolt through. And now we're on the bracket totally. It just needs tightening up. So for the in the middle clamp there, just drilled a couple of holes either side of the frame, bolt through, bracket on, and then just put your nuts on and basically tighten it up, and that's you done then. So now your rail is fixed here at the right distance where it needs to be, and your rail from this part to the inside of the frame fits on the inside, but we're fitted here then to the next hoop, and this contraption here now, where we've got this bit of timber underneath holding it together, this can come off, and these pieces here can be nail plated together, and it's fitted all the way along. So that's your rail fitted, and that's how you do it sort of if you're on your own putting it together, as I am today. The timber door frames are all fitted, ready for the doors, and these base rails are fitted as well. The last you'll have seen them, they were way up here when I was fitting them and getting them all right. I just loosened the fittings, dropped it to the ground, and then I've raised it up 4 or 5 inches. Later on, once the plastic's fitted and then the weather warms up, because it's not warm enough right now, you can come round and you can loosen these fittings, these metal fittings where they fit in the poles, and you can actually stand on the base rail to further tension it and get it nice, get your cover nice and drum tight. Now fitting the plastic cover, you pull the cover over the whole structure and even it out end to end, side to side, and then you pull it down, and you can see I've fitted some battens to the outside of these timbers here. This is to allow, once the cover's been pulled over here, you fit a batten here which secures the cover end to end, and then later on you fit these at the side and you nail these on, so the cover will wrap around the end, come around this, will go underneath this batten, and then you nail that on to hold it in place and trim off your excess. And that's how it fits all the way around, and it's the same all the way around the base rails and around both the door frames, and that's how the cover is actually fitted. Now ideally you want 15 or 16 degrees really minimum in the daytime temperatures to allow the plastic to stretch, so you can stretch the plastic down on these base frames and get it nice and tight. If it's loose and baggy and flapping around in the wind, it degrades the plastic so much quicker than it normally would. The tighter it is, the less it can flap around and the longer your cover will last. That's why you need that warmer temperatures. I'm hoping to get this cover on before the end of this month really, because I want to work in polytunnel, but it won't be finished because I'm going to cheat a little bit. So I'll try and show you that now, what I mean by cheating. As part of the instructions of putting this polytunnel together, that base frame rail should be fitted through the door frame there and should be solid and should be nail plated at the back. I'm not doing that yet because what I'm going to do is, until I can stretch it properly and get proper temperatures, which might be all the way into the end of April, is I'm going to loose fit it, and the plastic will be pulled around and battened on the inside. Later on, when I can stretch it properly, I will then fit the battens here, but in the meantime I'll have a working operational tunnel as such, but it just won't be as tight as it could be. When the warmer weather comes, I can come back, take the batten off the back, tighten it up again, and then fix that rail at the bottom at the same time as pushing the rail down to tighten it everywhere, and that will just finish it off. But it means I can get moving and using this tunnel a month earlier than I otherwise would do, and that's all that's really been holding me back, is warmer weather. Hopefully if we can get a temperature of 10 degrees, I think will be good enough to get started, then I can crack on with it. Now there had been one or two comments about when is Steve going to get this tunnel finished, and that's why it's literally this time of year in winter. It's too cold really to be putting a cover on a tunnel. You're just not going to get the tautness that you want. So hopefully doing this two-step system of tightening it and then coming back and retightening later will alleviate that problem, and you get to see Steve finish his tunnel. But that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully the cover will be going on in the next fortnight. That's the plan anyway, providing we get temperatures that are suitable for it. I'm looking for really 10, 11 degrees minimum really. So anyway, look after yourselves, stay safe. I'll see you all very, very soon. Ta-ra now.